Ever wonder how often and how intensely some of the fittest women in perimenopause and menopause actually work out? Or what some of the worst decisions they've ever made for their health have been? Or their no matter what's every single day? All of these answers and more are inside this episode. Let's get to it. What's up, sister? Welcome back to the Period Whisperer podcast, the show helping perimenopause and menopause women de-stress your body and decode what it's saying to you so you can own your own health, energy, and weight loss again. If you're new, I'm so happy you're here. I'm Bria. I'm your host, a recovering people pleaser and hustle addict turned functional and holistic hormone specialist. Let's lean in and learn what your body is saying to you. Hey there, sister. I hope you're as excited as I am about this episode. I often get questions about fitness. How much should I work out? How hard should I work out? How heavy should I be lifting? How many rest days I should be taking? Like, what are the most important things I'm doing? And sometimes these are answers that I want to know as well, even though, like you, I am, a busy mom, with a busy career, and I still make time most days of the week to hit that mat in one way or another. I wouldn't describe myself as one of the fittest people in the world. I know that I could put on a lot more muscle, but I don't have that kind of time. So I still have these questions, and I wanted to have on two amazing women, one in the perimenopause years, one in the menopause years, who are friends of mine and also co-hosts of the Go Figure podcast, Ashley Randall and Los Fetrick. And they have some amazing advice for us on all of these pieces. I asked them kind of what their no matter what's were. I asked them about what some of their worst advice was. They share some really incredible insight and tips into being fit at this age. And I think you're going to love this conversation. It's going to provide you with some great focus, some great mindset stuff. And I think a few great laughs as well. So let's dive in so you can meet and hear from Lori and Ashley and all their amazing advice as two very, very fit women who've made careers out of their fitness and continue to do so no matter what their age. All right, let's do it. Well, hey there, sisters. Welcome back to the Period Whisperer podcast. And today I'm super excited actually sitting here today. Today I'm sitting with two amazing women, Los Fetrick and Ashley Randall, who I met through V-Shred. And these are two of like the fittest women I know and just the funnest women I know. They are the hosts of the Go Figure podcast, where fitness, resilience, and real life stories collide. And I'm gonna just put them in the hot seat today and just ask them the kind of questions that I know a lot of women are wondering about how to be fit in your life. So welcome, you guys. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, I'm so glad. We just did your podcast, and it's just so fun sitting around and hanging out with you. And I think, I was saying before we recorded, I want to have just a really chillin' with ice style convo and just ask you some of these questions that I know are on the tops of minds of women. But, I think Lori and I did a podcast more recently, so maybe I'll let you guys introduce yourself, but you can go back and listen to that episode 254. But why don't I give you guys give me the one-liner of who you are and your background, or maybe the three lines. One's short. Lori,
go ahead, Ashley.
Okay. Well, I'm Ashley Randall, and I, three lines. Okay. I just have
impossible for her.
It is. I'm a little long-winded. I have just a huge passion for helping women find strength within themselves. So whatever that looks like, whether that's learning how to feed their body, learning how to lift heavy and be confident in the gym, just cultivating strength and belief within them, I think it can just open a world of doors that they might not even know about. So yeah.
That was solid and so exciting, like cultivating strength. Awesome. All right, Lori, go for it.
Oh my God, I have to introduce myself. Los Fetrick. I played ice on the American Gladiators about 100 years ago. And I have been in fitness for over 35 years. So this is my life. Fitness, wellness, health, eating, exercising. It's been my lifestyle. So I am excited to share everything that I know with every female, male out there when it comes to health and nutrition. So that's me.
Killer. I love it. And Ashley, have you been like fit your whole life too? We know Ice has.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I played sports my whole life. I've been training clients and doing this for over 15 years. I got my degree in kinesiology. So it truly is like a lifestyle and a passion for mine, or for me. Um, I think I can also relate to like the skinny fat where I was able to like live that life for a long time. And so that's part of my big passion is the lifting of the weights and like teaching women that like you're not going to get big and bulky. Like you can benefit so much from that. You don't have to just be, the skinny fat where it's like, okay, but do we feel good? Do we have energy? All of those things. So have I been fit? Yes, but am I getting fitter as I age? Yes.
Okay. But it's not
Look at
like
that. We're all like fine wines.
that's the
Yes.
goal though. I think, and
I
I
love
also
that.
the gift of midlife. It's like this is your time. It's your time to
Mhm.
move into that next season. Um, Ashley, how old are you? Am I allowed to ask that?
You are. I'm 39, which doesn't feel like I'm 39. I feel like I'm like 32. So, but yes, I'm 39.
I love that. That's great. And everyone listening already knows I'm 43. Lori, would you say you've been fit your whole life? I know I just made that assumption, but
I'm 61 and I started playing softball in fourth grade. So I literally was like a little athlete, my in fourth grade, boom, just playing ball and getting outside with the boys. And as soon as high school came around, I wanted to play, varsity volleyball, basketball, softball. I wanted to letter in all of them my freshman year, which I did. And so, yeah, I've been an athlete since fourth grade, I guess I could say, really.
is that how you like fitness identify? Like, do you guys feel like, oh, I'm an athlete or I'm a fit person? Like, if you had to describe yourself, would you?
Athlete, for
Athlete.
sure. Yeah. Because I think there is a difference between athletes and fitness,
Mm,
because that's from my own perception, actually. And that is if you're playing sports, like, Ashley was in, football, flag football and boxing, she's an athlete. I mean, and then there's fitness people that never have played a sport, but then go in the gym and they're lifting weights and doing their kind of thing. To me, that's more fitness. An athlete, you're doing things, you're playing, you're actually, it's more of a lifestyle, actually, I would say.
interesting.
Yeah. I definitely would agree with Lori on that. And it's interesting to hear Lori say that because I stopped doing team sports, if you will, in high school.
Mhm.
So for a lot of years, it was hard for me to see myself as an athlete because of that gap. I thought, well, I'm not an athlete anymore. I'm kind of like what Lori said. I'm just a person who likes to work out and train hard and do CrossFit and kind of dabble. But I realized that in all areas of my life, like I do truly have like an athlete mindset where I'm very goal oriented. Like you give me a task and I can execute it. I'm very coachable, like all of those things. So it is more than just an athlete. It's like, no, this truly is, yeah, who I am and how I operate and how I even can receive information and put that back out into the world.
And
Yeah.
I would say you're pretty competitive as well,
Very competitive.
so I don't think a lot of, I don't know, I don't even want to say this as a general broad, but a lot of fitness people that are going in the gym just for their bodies, just to stay somewhat fit, they're not, who are they competing with? Really, to be honest with you, are they competing with themselves? Are they even competing? Period.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm constantly, and I can't get over that. I want to sometimes. I'm like, why am I competing? And it's like, it's so in my nature.
Right.
That's interesting. I'd never really, because I would probably not identify as an athlete, even though I did play sports like in high school and college, but like I would always, I think more into fit, but I guess it requires fitness for athleticism, but maybe not athleticism for fitness. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
so.
Maybe, maybe
Because you
not.
don't really need to be an athlete to get into fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And- yeah. Interesting. Okay. Totally switching gears here. In the gym right now, because obviously you guys work out on the regular, it's a part of your life, a part of who you are. Are you focused on a certain part of your body that you want to condition right now?
We laugh. I think we both laugh. No, we're not laughing at you, Bria, but I think we
No.
both laugh because I'm laughing at least because I'm always, I mean, it's a goal of mine always to have a great ass. And so, and I think Lori's laughing because she probably knows that's my answer. So yes, for me, it's like, 3 times a week, I'm in there training my legs, working my butt. I will mess this up and there's many versions of this, but I think when someone can see that you have a fit body, that you're strong when you walk in, I think it is the highest form of like self-respect. When somebody else sees you and they're like, oh, okay, this person has clearly worked hard, put in the hours, like they carry themselves with that. And so for me, is my butt always like, my greatest asset? Pun intended, yes. But it also, I want my whole stature to like speak for itself. I want someone to look and to be like, okay, clearly, to have shoulders like this or arms like this, or like this person has put in the work, not just I want to be skinny for my vacation kind of a thing, I guess would be my overarching goal for how somebody would see my physique.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
and what I find fascinating, and it's a perfect balance, is I'm the complete opposite. It's like I was born with an ass. And so like my mom has that little bubble butt. So as I was growing up, I got teased because my butt was so big. And you look back and it wasn't, you know what I mean? But I got teased so bad that I didn't work on that area until I got into competitive bodybuilding. And then I had to. But I've always found it super sexy for females to have beautiful arms and shoulders. And so that's always been my thing, is my arms and my shoulders and my upper body, basically. So, and to that point, Ashley, when you're talking about when you walk in a room, and it's funny because there was a time to where I'd walk in a room and people automatically would go, oh my God, your arms and shoulders, they look amazing, blah, blah, blah. And that kind of like gave me the validation of, okay, I'm doing things correctly. You know what I mean? I'm doing things right. People are noticing this. And the minute it stopped, because there was a time, there was almost like when I was into business and opening my gym, believe it or not, opening a gym, that's where my downfall went. People stopped commenting. And I was like, okay, nobody's commenting. That means I'm not putting in the work. I swear to God, that's where my brain went. And so the minute I put in the work, the minute I started getting a little leaner, the minute people were like, because you get lean, people notice, I was like, okay, boom, I'm back on track again. Yeah. So I only train, it's funny, I only train my legs and butt once a week. And I've actually, since I've known Ashley, kicked it up to twice a week.
Yay.
I don't want her to have the greatest asset. The only one.
I'm like, oh, I can't lose that ass now that it's all popular and everything.
It is popular these days. That brings up a good point. In your experience, because you guys have so much, I hear this question a lot, from women who are trying to lose weight, trying to get into this rhythm and this habit of of working out. Can you target a certain body part when you work out?
Okay, Ashley, you can go on now if you want. I'm going to say you can't spot reduce, if that's what you're going to ask. I mean, if you're going into spot reduction, like, the women with the belly weight, I just want to get rid of my belly weight. Well, you can't spot reduce that. Or even when the butts weren't big, now everybody want to get rid of that, those saddlebags on the butt and everything. They're like, how do I get rid of this? They would try to target that area. And no matter, when I was coaching people and I was, doing it in person, that was the biggest thing, is target reduction. And I would just over and over and over, no matter how many times I said it, they just didn't believe me. It's almost like they listen to you and they go, okay, I hear you. But then 2 weeks later, they're like, how do I get rid of this? Right? You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, Lori nailed it. Like you can, and Lori can also speak to this too, having done the bodybuilding and the physique competing. Like, so to your question, Bria, you can 100% target a muscle. I mean, gosh, I've been in gyms before where I'm like, there is like 7 different machines just for your shoulders. Like what? 10 different machines just for your tricep. Like if you go into a bodybuilding machine, a gym, you will see equipment that you're like, what the heck? Like how do I need all of these things, just to hit this? But to Lori's point, you can't target where you lose fat. So yes, you can build your butt, you can build your shoulders, you can, you know, define your quads. But if you are a person who carries fat on the top of your legs, that might be the very last place that you lose
And it
fat. If,
is.
you know, women are like, oh, I want to lose this like armpit thing. Like,
Wait,
okay.
hold on.
And then,
I
yeah,
want to get rid of this.
it doesn't matter how many tricep extensions you do, how many push-ups you do, like you're going to lose fat where your body is going to lose the fat. So that's again why I encourage people, like the more muscle, aka the more you lift weights, the more fat you will then burn. But it's not just like, oh, I need to do sit-ups to get a six pack. Like, well, you got to get the fat gone first.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I always found it fascinating. I always found it fascinating how we literally could mold our body to look any way we want to look.
Bingo.
We are a piece of clay, if you think of it that way.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of how much work do you really want to put into it. But if you want to change your body and you want to get that V shape, you know, maybe you have like that pear shape, maybe you have an apple shape, whatever the shape you have, you can actually change that through lifting weights. Yeah. But it is going to require some good effort, like some really hard work to put in if you want to do that. But you can change that shape that you have through putting on some muscle.
Oh, I love that. What are your workout philosophies? Like, how often are you hitting the gym? How long are you working out? And does it change throughout the year?
Yeah, well, for me, this is a great question. And I have lived, I'm sure, again, Lori can kind of resonate with this. I have lived all the walks of life. I mean, I remember doing CrossFit where it was like, if you aren't completely dead on the floor and then maybe even going back and doing a second workout in the day. I mean, gosh, there was times in my 20s where I was doing 2 extremely intense workouts a day and coaching CrossFit, you know, and riding my bike around San Diego, like all of that stuff. And then I wasn't even seeing the results that I wanted to see. It was like, what's happening? Then I've also been in seasons like Lori where I've worked in a gym. And so then sometimes your desire to work out becomes less because you're like, I spent all day here working. The last thing I now want to do is lift weights.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think I found a really good balance of, and again, this is what I think is so cool about the more you become in tune with your body. Like, I know what my body responds to. My body likes to do heavy lifting. It likes to have 2 full days of rest. And it doesn't respond well to like hit cardio or lots of jumping around. I get a little bit swollen. I get inflamed. My body personally doesn't like that. But without trying certain things out, I don't think I would have been able to get here so confidently. Like when I say rest day, I'm like, yeah, I'm like it. I mean, I walk the dogs, but like it's it. Like that's, but there used to be a time when that made me anxious when I was like, wait, rest day. Like, what can I do that is like, can I go to yoga? Can I go to this? Like, can I do something that's not lifting weights, but still somehow say that it's a rep? Like, no. But again, as you get more confident in your body and you start to see the changes, you're like, wow, I actually look better a day after resting than I do after 7 days of just smashing myself in the gym.
So true. Oh my God, that's so true.
That's a good.
I went through not quite the same because CrossFit I tried for about a month and went, yeah, my body's not going to like this too well. You know?
Or it's like, I'm not jumping on this train. No.
Yeah, I mean, I really tried. Okay, my first thing is even in high school, I hated running. Just hated it. Wasn't a thing for me. So when CrossFit came around, they're like, we're going to run. And I was like, fuck this shit. You know? I mean, I could do all the gym shit and lifting and everything. Burpees, hated. I was like, oh, that's a huge part of it. I'm out.
Yeah.
And then the jumping, you're right. You know, so no, but when it came to the actual, you know, when I was in my 20s and I was getting into bodybuilding and I was competing and everything, I was doing the 2 splits. I was going in before work. I was in the gym at 6 a.m. I'd go in sometimes if I were competing on stage within like 2 months, I'd go in at lunch and do some cardio. I'd go in after work. I was just a fanatic. I was, you know, one of those people. And because I was in my mind, I was like, well, if I'm not doing this, somebody else is, and they're going to win. Yeah. You know, that's kind of how my competitive brain went. And then after the competition stopped, and then after the gladiators kind of ended, I realized that my body, obviously, I was going into my early 40s and everything else. And it was just like, it was changing. It wasn't working like it was in my late 20s and early 30s, like the things that I was doing wasn't working. Now I sound like an ad. But
I'm listening. What does work, Lori?
I know, right?
Oh my
Check
God.
this out.
You've got 30 seconds or you're losing my attention here.
Exactly. But I started realizing that my body, same thing as Ashley, it likes the heavy lifting. My body responds really well to HIIT training, except my knees don't respond to the jumps.
Mm.
And when I started doing the jumps and things like that, my knees, I started like the inflammation in my knees, and then it just made me tired, and the tiredness didn't make me feel good. So I was like, HIIT training isn't probably my thing.
Yeah.
So what I have found in my later years, is I still hit it really hard, but it's not the jumping. It's not the running. I'll go hikes.
Yeah.
Hiking is great. I love hiking. That doesn't bother my knees and my legs. But the days off, Ashley is spot on that. When I take 2 days off, full 2 days, my body, like I went in yesterday. I didn't train for 2 days over the weekend. It was my mom's birthday. I didn't train arms for like 5 days, which is unusual for me. I went in yesterday, 2 exercises, and my arms were like pumped. I was like, wow, my body just responded just like that.
Yeah.
And it was from the rest. My body's like, thank you.
Right.
But you got to listen to it. And I think over the years, what happens with women is I think it takes time for them to listen to their bodies. It's like if they're hungry, they're listen to your body. If you're thirsty, listen to your body. If you're tired, listen to your body.
It doesn't take time. It's like you need to be beaten over the head with a brick sometimes. It's
sometimes.
Like, why do we not listen? Okay, here's a question, because I think what I'm hearing from both of you is knowing your body, listening to the messages is really, and trusting that is really the way for you to be able to get to a really great place in a body that you love. And so do you think being athletes, the fact that you guys have really been athletes for most of your lives, do you think that was a part of what has allowed you to tune into your body maybe better than other people at this stage?
I think that for me, it was drummed in my head. It took me a minute, just like anybody else. It took me a minute because like Ashley said, on my day off, I'd be like, da, 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 what can I do? What can I do? I get anxious because I'm like, okay, I'm shrinking or, I'm not losing what I want to lose, or my body's not changing because I expect my body to change every single day for some reason. Yeah. And so on the days off, I got really anxious, the same thing. And I had to listen to my body. And I think over time, as you do get older and as you do mature, and as the longer that you're in this, yes, you start to listen to your body because there's clues that your body, that you will pick up on, that somebody might have told you 5 and 10 times, but all of a sudden one day you go, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah. So and I think a lot of women, twofold. I think they don't give it enough time is probably the biggest thing. They're like, I tried yoga for a week. I ran for a week. I did this for a week. Nothing's changing. And it's like, okay, again, I mean, Lori and I are talking about long-term stuff. Again, I was in my 20s, but I mean, I did CrossFit for 3 years. Mm-hmm. So it took that. And then it also took not doing it to then look back and to say, I was working out insanely hard and I like my body better. Like you have to give it time. You can't just say, oh, I tried this thing and it's not working. And something for me that I see, which is interesting because it's opposite kind of what Lori just said, is I work with a lot of women that are ex-athletes that now are kind of finding themselves they're like, I don't know how to do this. Like they've been told their whole life, kind of, this is the workout. We're going in here. You're training here. Like you do high school, you do college, they have kids, and then they're in their mid to early 30s. And they're like, I actually don't really know how to operate this because somebody else has kind of been telling me how to operate it, how to work out. So again, I think it's like Lori said, it's getting to know your body. It's seeing what works for you. Hey, when I, lift weights, yes, I might be sore and I might be a little swollen for a week, but once, my body gets oh, wow, I look better. Or, wow, Pilates is really great for me. Or whatever it might be.
Speaking of
But
which, you just tried that, didn't you? And it
I
kicked your
used to
ass, you
do,
said.
yeah, I used to do Pilates like at least once a week on a reformer, and I took the last like 5 months off. And anyone who's listening who has done Pilates knows, but like I was probably in the first 5 minutes, like checking my watch, like on the plank, like I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, how long? Like it was
You're
terrible.
like, are we done
Good, but
yet?
in a good way, in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Bria, I think it's just that a lot of people, a lot of women, they don't like have autonomy over, they don't know.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to their nutrition, they're just like, I don't know. Like we as women have just been told kind of what to do. The research has been on men predominantly. And so it's like, oh, this
Yeah.
worked for my husband. Oh, someone told me to do that. Like, hey, like Lori said, this is your piece of clay. You can mold it, feed it, stretch it, do whatever you want to it. But why don't you run the experiment on you instead of just doing what someone said worked for them?
Yeah. I love it. It really speaks to our patience, right? And our desire to,
Yes.
and I think that is what happens in midlife is that your body's like, I'm done taking everyone else's advice. Like, and your hormones just fundamentally support that. Your estrogen drops and it's kind of like, fuck you. Not
Right.
doing it that way. So,
Well, and it's funny that you bring that up too, because my girlfriend is 44. So she is big time perimenopause. And even though I'm out and done, I still follow her cycles, which is interesting because we're in the same household. So like yesterday, I was bitchy, just irritable. And I'm like, I just want to rip your face off today. And she goes like this. She goes, oh, we're PMSing. I was like, oh, we are? Thank you.
We're PMSing.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, thanks for letting me know.
I know. Well, it's really interesting though, because you still go through these types of, changes and feelings. And I'm not quite sure, even though I'm done, you would think that you don't follow other people's cycle and you don't, I mean, is it, here's my question, Bria.
Yeah.
Let's ask this. So is this kind of like a placebo effect?
Yes. I would absolutely say it is, because we know that once the ovaries retire, we don't have that same, but I really feel that it's like a worn path of groove. We don't go from 12, 13 to like 50, walking a path, and just stop walking that path. Like it is fundamentally a part of us. Plus, I think women are just a little bit more open to each other's energies. So like, maybe you were a little bit bitchier because maybe she was a little bit bitchier. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, that's a great point. No, it's a great point. You kind of mirror.
I love it.
You do mirror.
Like, I'm a bitch because you were a bitch. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm gonna meet you all bitches. So I got bitchy.
It's very true how women are, and it's if you really think about it, though, we do mirror one another. At least that social kind of mirroring.
It's
somebody
a form of connection, so that we can more deeply with each other.
So like if I'm with Ashley and Ashley is kind of like, I can see whatever her mood she's in, it's like, I will kind of, I notice I do this with a lot of people. I slightly mirror by accident and I don't mean to, I guess, but I do. It's like, like if I was with you and you were kind of bitchy, you were tired or you were quiet, I wouldn't be all la, 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 la. I'd kind of get quiet.
Yeah.
And kind of like mirror your energy.
Yeah. But I think it's a way to become more relatable. Like it's easier to connect because again, to your point, if I'm quiet and like calm and you're going off the rails, we're not going to connect. So I think
you turn to me and go, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I'll be like, okay, bye. Like,
bye.
But if you're like, hey, what's going on? Like, but again, I think that like Bria said, I think that's a cool thing. Like women, we can kind of become this like shapeshifter and we are very intuitive beings and we're able to see, most of us, we're able to see that and be like, okay, what does this person need? And how do I need to kind of show up to help this connection like be a little bit better rather than you're this and I'm this and we're just and some women probably are like that, where you're just like, dude, we're never going to gel because you can't do that connector thing.
It's interesting to hear, because I think the same thing, and I'm hearing you guys say it, and it's like one of those situations where our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness. Like, I think because we can chameleon so well that we often lose ourselves in that, and that's probably why we're just listening. Well, I'll just take this advice as what everyone else is doing because that'll be easier. We'll connect on that level.
That's a good point.
That's
Yeah.
I was watching something last night and they were talking about society and how the whole COVID thing happened and how, a lot of the masses, when they separated us and we went into isolation, we felt alone.
Mm-hmm.
But the minute there was something that we could all gather around and come together on, no matter if it was good or bad, we did.
Yeah.
And so as humans, we have to have that connection.
Mm-hmm.
In order to survive in the world, basically, because if you're not, you're going to be alone and it's not going to be a fun ride.
Yeah. It's
a
need.
What was that?
It's a fundamental human need. That's why it's hard for people to say no to a drink when other people are drinking, to say no to, skipping the workout if that's what all their friends are doing. It's why it matters who you hang with, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And if everybody's working out, you're going to work out. If if your social circle is not working out, you're not going to work out.
Yeah.
So it is. It's like my mom used to say, you are who you hang out with.
Yeah. It's true. I say it all the time. It's kind of like a tagline of mine. It's like connection creates commitment. Mm-hmm. And to your point, Bria, whatever that is, if you're connected to your office people and they're going to happy hour, like that's where your commitment's going to be. If you're, connected to like wherever you feel connected, that's where you're going to be committed and vice versa. It's like wherever you're committed is where you're going to be connected. So like Laura, you got to kind of pick who you hang out with.
So it's great to have a community and build that community so people can be part of that community because you have like minds.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to start working out and they're going to want to do the same thing, eat healthy, share recipes, things like that. But if you don't have that community and everybody else is going to Chuck E. Cheese with all their kids and everything else, well, it's going to be hard because you're alone in your own community working out and eating healthy and meal prepping. And then pretty soon they just give up, unfortunately.
I know we're kind of jumping all over, Bria. I don't know what you had on your
Good. I'll get us back on track, but you go ahead first.
I was just going to say, I think like going back to the CrossFit, like I truly think that's why it was wildly successful when it first came out, because it was like, this is my community. We're all eating paleo. We're working out. We're doing this. We're doing that. Like people were just like, it got deemed a cult for that reason, because it was like, oh my gosh, these are my people.
And that's how they built it though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it was, people are like, I don't know what the fuck a barbell snatch is. I don't know how to do this. But to them, they're like, it doesn't matter because like I'm here with my people and I'm in it and I CrossFit and I burpee and like they're just locked in.
Yeah.
And it's that, I'm not the biggest fan of CrossFit on a structural level, but I do think that what it did for the average Joe coming into fitness is probably, there hasn't been anything like it since then, where average Joe people are like, I'm doing 5 a.m. workouts. I'm changing this. I'm committed. Like that is insane. Like how that happened. There hasn't been like
those girls became monsters. Oh my God. Some of those CrossFit chicks. Holy, I was just like, when I saw them, I was like, oh, holy shit. Beast mode. Thick ass girls.
Right. Okay. Tell me this. What is the worst health advice you took but shouldn't have, or like the first choice you made and you're like even if you knew it, like did you know it at the time, were you like, I'm going for a quick fix here, and you're like, that was a bad idea?
Okay, I'm going to take this one first because I just really quick. It's not, when I was bodybuilding, my girlfriend at that time told me, she goes, if somebody told you to stick a popsicle stick up your ass sideways, you would do it if they told you you'd lose 2 to 3 pounds. I'd be like, you're right, I would. So that's how influential. I was listening to everyone because I was so in the competition mode that any little edge I could grab, I tried to grab. I would say the worst was, oh shit. And I don't know if you guys heard this, but There was a girl at the Arnold that just passed away from dehydration.
Oh.
You know, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, huge classic they have every year. A girl passed away backstage from dehydration. And that was one of the biggest, worst advice that I ever got when I was competing. It was boiled. Like we would take chicken and put it in boiling water because they said it'll get rid of all the fat. So it was like, I would boil the chicken, I would have broccoli, and that's all I ate for literally almost 3 weeks to a month going up to the competition. And then you would deplete your water. And then the morning of competition, you'd carb load, whatever that was. So I would take brown rice, sugar, cinnamon, raisins, grape juice, full on grape juice, boom, before I'd walk on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Worst you could ever do. I mean, it's just so bad for your body.
Yeah.
But I was competing and I was like, okay, I'll do it.
It's like, where's the popsicle?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody help me.
Let's go. I was pretty excited to hear that story. Okay, that's good. So you were willing to do whatever. I
was willing to do whatever it took to win at that point in time in my life. I mean, obviously things have changed and I can laugh about it now, but that was like.
Now you're like, wouldn't do that again.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
What about you, Ash?
Let's see. I would say probably taking fat burners in my 20s. Even in my mind, I feel like I knew it wasn't going to work. And I would have like literal heart palpitations. Like I remember there'd be times that I'd be working out. I don't even know if I had any fat to burn, but to Lori's point, you just want that like slight edge. You've been influenced. You're like, I don't know, maybe that, like, first of all, if anyone listening thinks that that's still a thing, like it's a complete crock of shit. But yeah, I would take them and I would be like in the gym, like, okay, I think I'm like slightly having a heart attack, but like, I don't know, because like, maybe that means it's working. Being crazy. And the other thing, which I don't necessarily regret this, because I do think that by trying things, it has helped me relate and have just more knowledge. But I did keto and I was like obsessed, like peeing on the sticks, like checking my ketones. Like I'm talking like pee on the stick, check the levels, and then be like, okay, I can't have, like, what is like, it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't, you would get obsessed with like, okay, oh no, I can't even have like this little bit of like ketchup, it's like, good Lord. But again, without trying.
It's who we are.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me close my window.
I'm realizing that I'm not nearly as committed or fierce as you guys are.
Yeah. But okay, I will tell you about the ketosis. My ex that I was dating at the time, he was into it. So again, kind of like what Lori said, it goes back to the whole connection thing. Like I had that person to kind of feed off of. And it was like, okay, cool. So now if we're going to go out to eat, I know your choices are going to help support my choices. So we're both doing this ketosis thing. So in a good and bad way, it definitely fed that fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, now looking back at that, like if someone told me to do ketosis now, I'd be like, go fuck you. Like, no. Like, no.
See, the funny thing is my coach at that time when I was bodybuilding and we were carb depleting, I had one day a week I could carb load, which meant eat whatever you want, But when I was carb depleting, he would be like, well, you got to be careful that your body doesn't go into ketosis, because that was back then, but we didn't have the sticks that we had to pee on. But man, you could smell it in your urine.
Yes. And your breath, like, yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Horrendous.
Weird. We do.
Bria's like, what?
You're like, I'm not as hardcore. Like, haven't been hanging out with you guys this whole time. I need to level up my game here.
And that's why I teased you about your 5-pound dumbbells.
They were 8 pounds.
I know, I'm teasing you.
I have to take them to a location. Anyway.
She's like, I don't want to scare the people.
I do lift 8-pound dumbbells for some reason. I've got some muscle. Come on now.
Oh, dude, I know. Okay, wait. I got to ask. Let me ask you this. When you're doing bicep curls, okay, what is the max you can lift? 5 reps?
15 pounds.
15 pounds?
I think so. I only have 15.
You can do more than that. I know you can do more.
Maybe I could do 20.
You could do 20.
But
you could do 20 easy. You could do 20 easy.
Yeah, I bet you could do 20.
Yeah. But the thing of it is this is where it's like, okay, so I understand women at home. They don't want to get bulky, but they don't want to get bulky so much. And they've got this thing in their head that they don't even really kind of push it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
totally.
They're staying within like that's why I asked you. Let's say that a woman could easily lift, I'm just going to go bicep because it's easier, 20 pounds, but yet they stay at 5. You know, and they're like, nothing's happening. Nothing's working.
Oh, no.
It's like, well, you're not putting any resistance really there, you know, but they think that because they see everybody using these little 5-pound, 8-pound dumbbells, that they don't go any further.
Tomorrow I'm making a reel for you.
Please do.
Curling 20 pounds.
I want you to curl it and then send it.
Okay.
Then put it out there and tell your girls to once in a while push themselves.
Yeah.
I do though. I appreciate a good grunt. Like I need to know when I'm lifting that like I got a grunt to get through the last couple. That's like what
I don't see you grunting, Bria. You're not a grunter.
But you know what, Bria, you do make a really good point, because I do think, and having been in the online space for a long time, and again, it kind of has given me a totally different perspective because I used to do only in person. And so when I did in person, like I had control. I could look at the person and say, you know, like Lori's saying, that's too light, Bria. Like, and I would just bring you the dumbbell and you would just try it and you would do it and you would be like, okay. But when you're in the online space, it is difficult. And so to women that are listening, I would say, if, you know, let's say you're doing a program that says like 3 sets of 15, if you can get through all 3 sets of 15 and not even for a millisecond think you need to put that weight down, 100% that weight is too light for you. Every single set of the 15, in my opinion, if I was training you, I would rather you do 12, 10, and then maybe be able to squeak out 8, because it's gotten so challenging, not checking the box. And I think there's a lot of women that just think, well, it says 3 sets of 15, so I just have to pick a weight that I know that I can do. And it's like, no, like it's actually okay to start with the 20s and then do 5 reps and then pick up the 15s and do 5 reps and then pick up the 10s and do 5 reps and then be like, hey, I still did my 15, but I got better. Yeah. And I think that sometimes, again, us women, we get so kind of locked into just like, it says to do this, so I'm going to do this.
Following orders.
Says to do this. Yes, exactly. And it's like, but what if you just looked at it differently and you were like, okay, I'm going to do 2 push-ups off of my knees because that's all I can do, but then I'll do the rest of them on my knees instead of just saying, oh, it says 10, so I'll just go straight to my knees.
Right.
We gotta like get out of the default of like completion mode and get into the mode of growth and just like, where can we challenge ourselves, not just where can we complete the task just to complete the task.
And when they complete the task, they think just because they completed the task, they're going to start seeing results.
Right.
And that's the misconception.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same misconception as thinking like, if I just eat in this calorie window, I'm going to lose weight. Whereas it doesn't, like you know, all food is different. Okay. I feel like I have 14 questions left, but I'm going to have to wrap it up. I'm going to ask one question. Oh no, this is hard. Sorry.
You're so funny.
I want to ask, here's what I want to ask. I'm going to give them all 3 to you and you can either give it to me quickly or pick one. There we go. We're going to make it complicated. What are your no matter what's for your health in your body? What is one thing you recommend women can do to notice, to like hear their bodies more? Actually, I'll just leave it at those.
Hear their bodies more. What was the first one?
What are your no matter what's for your health day, like on the regular, we'll call it. So maybe not every day, but on the regular.
So we do no matter what.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Ash.
Okay. So I'll just give you like 5 like non-negotiables. Is morning sunlight. Mm-hmm. So no phone. I don't do any phone or screen before 7 a.m. I do morning sunlight.
What's that? I like to go outside or you stick your face in the window?
I try to get outside. I try to get outside.
Opens the window, opens the blind.
I'm like with the blinds. I'm like, okay, good. And then I like pick up my phone.
That's awesome.
Check.
I'm like, are my retinas burning? Good. Okay, we're good.
That's awesome.
No. So morning sunlight, no screen time. I
Mm.
try to hit 10,000 steps, and that's more just like a lifestyle thing. Like again, trying to be active. And then kind of this verbiage I think got inspired by you, but making sure that I'm feeding myself, not like a toddler. I have
Mm.
always kind of done that because I will be late somewhere and make sure that I eat first. Like that is a huge priority, but it's a non-negotiable. So proper nutrition for me, morning sunlight, moving my body, and then getting myself on a scheduled bedtime, like a winding down time, I think is also pretty crucial for me.
Yeah.
And then what can women do to be more in tune with their bodies? I would say, I know this might be difficult, but I would say slow down for one is a huge one. Like take a moment to whether that's in the morning or the evening, just take an inventory. Again, how do I look? How do I feel? Am I swollen? Am I tired? Am I whatever? And then from there, you take that information and then you go and you do said thing with that data. Like, hey, I'm really, cranky. Okay, what can I shift with that? Or I'm really hungry. Okay, but if we're not taking that inventory, then we can't really change anything. So I just think being more in tune with yourself means pausing, kind of doing a full body scan, and then adjusting from that scan, what those results yielded.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that.
I mean, she almost said it all. That's so true. I mean, especially listening to your body. Um, if you're tired, you obviously need to really look at why you're not sleeping 8 hours. If you can get 8 hours, I mean, I get 8 to 9 hours. That's a non-negotiable for me, by the way. In the morning sunlight, same thing. I walk out on my front porch. I I do have my coffee in my hand first thing in the morning, but I'm sitting in the sun. No phone, no computer, nothing like that. That's a non-negotiable. I have to do that every morning. Going back to listening to your body. If your mind is racing constantly, then yes, you need to take a breath. You need to slow down if you can, because I know it's hard with a lot of women. They've got their jobs, their families, their kids, most of them, all these things. But just take a moment, breathe. If you can sit for 2 to 3 to 5 minutes, I mean, even 5 minutes, some women go, I don't have that time, but you do. If you're hungry, if you're constantly hungry, you need to feed your body. This isn't negotiable. This isn't where I'm going to starve myself because I need to lose 5 pounds. And everyone I tell them, the more you starve yourself, the more your metabolism slows down because it's conserving energy because it doesn't know when you're going to feed it again. If you feed your body every 3 to 4 hours, small little meals, you're feeding that fire constantly and your metabolism is just going to light up and it's going to be a bonfire and you're going to burn. So listening to your body, it is a hard thing for women I've noticed to really slow down to do, but Ashley was right spot on. If you don't slow down, you can't listen to your body.
Mm-hmm.
You have too many things coming at you constantly.
Yeah.
You literally have to sit in a place, breathe, and get into the meditation of it. And that's just concentrating on your breath, finding out what's happening in your body. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating enough? Are you doing things to decrease your stress? Because we all know stress is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And are you feeding yourself properly instead of just grabbing things? We could probably talk about this forever, but yeah. And I know we're on a time limit and you're out. I'm looking at my clock right now. It's a hard one.
That's amazing advice. I think you've given so much here, and it's so nice just to talk to other people like in real conversations and hear what they're doing and how they're thinking. And, it's amazing to me. Like I call this the period whisperer so that people learn to listen to the whispers of their body. And like the overarching thing of what you both just said is like, you got to listen to your body. And here's how we do it. We slow down and we stop numbing. I think that's
yes.
fun. Thank you guys. I am so excited. I'm going to see you next time, whenever that is. And I'm going to have bigger arms because I'm going to be lifting. Thank you for the advice today. I take it. I appreciate you both.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you. All right,
yeah,
sisters.
Thanks, Priya.
Great information here for you. Take it, go out, be more in your life and not just less on a scale. And we'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me on the Period Whisperer podcast. If you liked this episode, take 30 seconds right now to write a review on iTunes and then reach out to me directly on Instagram at Bria_period_whisperer and message me there with a screenshot of your review. As a thank you, I will give you a customized free hormone audit to get you on your way to the best health of your life in midlife.